Hi everyone, welcome back to Life is Love School. My name is Yume Chang. Today's topic is how to heal a broken heart. Specifically, I want to give you 4 tips to help you stay calm and strong after you've left a toxic relationship. So let's get to it. Point number 1 is be kind to yourself. The characteristic of a toxic relationship is that the abuse cycle has hot and cold components. So it starts up really, really nice where they're putting you as the center of the universe, they're catering to your every need. And then after a period of time, the tension starts to build up and then everything collapses. There's a huge conflict. Sometimes it escalates to physical violence. And after a while, if you keep staying in this relationship and this cycle rinse and repeats, what it does is it triggers your dopamine reward circuit. So the dopamine reward circuit is the same brain circuit that gets stimulated when you have a gambling addiction, a drug addiction, an alcohol addiction, etc. If you're thinking that, hey, breaking up is really difficult, think about dealing with a breakup and breaking an addiction at the same time. So there's no surprise that you feel so drained and so difficult. A lot of times my clients would tell me, hey, Yume, what is wrong with me? This person abused me, abused my children, destroyed me financially, etc., but I still miss them. It's very normal how you feel. But just because you feel that way does not mean that you should heed your emotions. Sometimes emotions can mislead us. If emotions are always correct, we would not be in a toxic relationship or stay in it for that long in the first place. So just to make a point of how difficult it is to break free from a toxic relationship, according to the Domestic Violence Prevention Center, it takes on average a victim 7 to 12 tries to successfully and permanently leave an abusive relationship. So it's very difficult, and after you leave, it will still take you about 3 to 6 months before you feel semi-normal again. So be prepared for the hard fight ahead of you. You could give yourself a leg up by preparing what I call a first aid kit. So in the first aid kit, I would list everything that you could do to take care of yourself during this time. It could be going for a walk, talking to your therapist, writing in your journal, listening to music, everything that can make you happy and help bring your emotion back to calm. So write that list and put it on your phone or maybe print it out and put it on your fridge so that in a pinch you have easy access to it. Point number 2 is prevention is key. So one of the reasons that people run back to their toxic ex is a phenomenon called euphoric recall. So as I mentioned, if you're in an abusive cycle, it triggers your dopamine reward circuit. So in a withdrawal, your dopamine level is going low. And the brain doesn't like it because dopamine makes you feel motivated, it gives you drive, it makes you feel good. So if you're not in proximity with your ex, there's no more of that trauma bond, that hot and cold cycle. You're no longer being stimulated and your brain is not secreting enough dopamine. So you feel bad. And when you feel bad, your brain would make you do things so that you can get back to that state where you could get dopamine. So then what it does neurologically is it will make you only remember the good times. So remember, in an abuse cycle, it is good interlaced with bad, interlaced with good. So you will forget all the bad times and only remember the good times. And this is when victims actually run back to their abusive ex. So when it comes to euphoric recall, prevention is key. Because you know euphoric recall is coming, you might as well vaccinate yourself. And by that, I mean writing down every single reason why you had to leave this relationship. So the time she gaslit you or the time that he hit you, write that down. The time that she stole from you, the time that, he controlled your access to your friends, etc. Write that down. Whatever it is, write it down and then read it as often as you can. I recommend to people to read it first thing in the morning, at lunchtime, and again before you go to bed, so that you're constantly remembering why you had to leave and why you have to stay away. So again, prevention is key when it comes to euphoric recall. So point number 3 is knowledge is power. The reason I create this video is I want to spread the information of what trauma bonding does to your brain, so that you no longer confuse addiction withdrawal and the feeling of missing that person with genuine love. It's not love, it's just addiction. But if you don't know what it is, then you could be tricked into believing it's love, and it will be that much harder for you to stay away. So the analogy I would give is, Dorothy and her friends were completely in awe of the Wizard of Oz until Toto had the courage to go and pull the curtain down and reveal the fact that the Wizard of Oz is just a little old guy pulling cranks. So once you see reality for what it really is, and in this case, it's simply your dopamine reward circuit is being triggered, you will no longer feel the same way about your toxic ex. So to the extent you can, read books, watch videos like this, get educated on what actually goes on when you are being subjected to intermittent reinforcement, when you are going through abuse cycle. And I think that would be very enlightening, and it will also help you cut the cords and the emotional tie. So point number 4 is super important, which is you want to give yourself closure. A lot of times my clients would come to me and they would say, I could leave, but I really need her to tell me the reason why this didn't work out. I really need to let him know how he mistreated me and how he shouldn't have mistreated me, etc., etc. So if you're honest with yourself in this situation, the reason that people want to get closure from their ex is really more about a delay tactic. So if something is difficult for us, we're very good at lying to ourselves. So we will find a reason as to why we can't move on. So in this case, the brain concocted a really clever scheme, which is I must have my ex know that they hurt me. I must have them apologize before I can move on. So this gives you a reason to not move on. And truly, closure is something you can totally give yourself. You do not need to hand your power away and say, I must get it from you, otherwise my life is on hold. You can give yourself closure by simply saying, I deserve more than this. I deserve more than breadcrumbing. I deserve more than abuse. I deserve more than neglect. When you want more, just raise the bar. And that's really all you need. You give yourself closure by saying that a healthy relationship requires two people to grow and invest in a relationship. And you cannot single-handedly make it work, nor can you force them to change. They have to want to change. So in summary, the 4 points I'll give you is, number 1, be kind to yourself. What you're doing is very difficult because it's not just a normal breakup, but it's also addiction withdrawal on top. Point number 2 is prevention is key. You want to write down that list of why you left a relationship and read it as often as you possibly can to keep it top of mind. Point number 3 is knowledge is power. So watch my videos and read books, etc., so that you are informed, you know what's going on with your brain, so you no longer confuse addiction withdrawal with love. And the last point is give yourself closure. If we want more in life, really what we just need to do is raise the bar. We always get what will pass the bar. If you're willing to say, hey, I love myself so much that I want more in life, you will get more. And make sure that you build a happy and healthy life for yourself so that you are fully content being by yourself. And when you feel that way, you will exude a lot of confidence, and confidence is attractive. You want to get to a point where you're happy to say, I would rather be by myself, be happily single, than be in this situation. When you are there, you will be successfully able to leave. So I hope you find this episode helpful. If you want to get notified of upcoming episodes, make sure you sign up and subscribe. I'll also put in the show notes relevant videos on this topic, including more information on how to break the trauma bond. I want you to know that you're not alone in the struggle. I've been there before, and so have many people that have been in a toxic relationship, and you can absolutely do it. If on your journey out, you stumble, you fail, you get some bumps and bruises, don't worry about it. It's very normal. Just pick yourself back up, because every time you try again, you give your heart a chance to catch up with what your mind already knows, which is this person is no good for you. So until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.